So the first thing I'm doing is priming my face. I'm using the Bare Minerals Prime Time primer. It's the illuminating one. I honestly don't notice the difference with the illuminating part, but it's a primer, so I use it. And for foundation, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Proglow foundation. This is my first time using it and I actually liked it, so I just applied it all over my face, and my face looks so pale right now, and I'm going to be going in with concealer to make it even lighter, but once we bronze it will look okay. So I used the Urban Decay one and I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. I don't know why on camera you could tell that it was like a good highlighting shade, but in person it was like pretty much the same color as my face. And I'm using the Sephora concealer, and I don't like the applicator on this. It's really weird. You kind of have to like dot it on. So yeah, I'm just applying it over top of the Urban Decay concealer, and I'm also going to be putting this down the bridge of my nose, sorry if you can hear my dog, and my chin and my forehead, and then I'm going to go in, oh yeah, sorry, no, not yet. I'm also using it to put on my eyelids because I'm going to use the concealer to prime for eyeshadow. And now I'm going to blend everything out. I'm using the Real Techniques Complexion or Miracle Complexion Sponge, something like that. I honestly don't notice the difference between using this and the Beauty Blender. I like them both just as much. And now I'm going to use the same sponge to set everything because why not, it works. And I'm using the Mercier translucent powder, and I'm just going to put it everywhere where I put my concealer. For my brows, I'm using the new Benefit Brow Pomade, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. When I was looking at it, I didn't know which one to buy because this one seemed a little bit too light and then the other one seemed like way too dark. So I just got this one, and I can't tell if I like brow product if it's too light because I just feel like it's not pigmented enough, so I don't know. And I was trying to be all cute and use like the little brush that it came with, but I ended up having to switch brushes and brow pomades. I ended up using the Anastasia brow pomade in the shade Chocolate to fill in my brows, and now I'm just dusting off the powder. It's been about 15 minutes since it's been on my face, and I don't know why I was like using such a tiny brush to wipe it away, and then I realized after to like grab a bigger brush, and it was like so much faster and easier. And now because I'm really pale, I'm going to be taking the Urban Decay bronzer. This is the Beach bronzer in the shade Bronzed, and I'm using the Sigma F20 brush, which is just like a really fluffy powder brush, and I'm just going to be using this to bronze up my whole face. And then I'm going to contour. I'm using the Kat Von D contour kit, and I'm using the lightest shade. And I'm using my NARS Ita brush just to put this in the hollows of my cheeks. And I'm putting a little bit down my nose just to contour my nose a little bit. And then I realized that I should have done my eyes first, but I totally forgot at the time that I was using tape. So I'm just going to be putting the tape from my lower lash line up to the tail of my brow. And the first eyeshadow I'm using is Creme Brule from Makeup Geek, and I'm using a Morphe M441 brush to apply this in the crease of my eye, and I'm putting it all the way back towards that tape. And I'm focusing most of this product on the outer corner of my eye, not so much on the inner corner. And then I'm going in with a brush that's a little bit smaller. This is like the one I always use. And I'm using the eyeshadow Fawn from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And again, I'm just putting most of this on the outer corner. Whenever I'm using tape, I always make sure I'm blending all the way to the outer corner. Like I always make sure I get the eyeshadow on the tape, because that way you'll have like the cat eye that you want. If you're not really blending it all the way back, then you might not have like that sharp line that you want when you remove the tape. So now I'm going in with a darker eyeshadow. This is Fawn from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I think this is like a pencil brush from Morphe, but you can use like any pencil brush, or you can use an angled brush, whatever you want. But I'm just putting this against the tape, kind of like where you would do winged eyeliner, and then I'm bringing it to my lash line, and I just took a little fluffy brush and I'm just blending it out so it's not too harsh. And then I'm going in with the orange eyeshadow. Sorry, you couldn't really tell which one I was pointing to because of the way I was holding up the palette, but I'm taking Brule from MAC, which is the orange eyeshadow, and I went back in with the Morphe blending brush, and I'm just putting that in my crease. And then I'm going in with Smoke eyeshadow from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm using an angle brush now because I want it to be like a little bit more like precise, so it kind of adds dimension to my lash line. So I'm just doing the exact same thing I did earlier. This brown is a little bit darker than the other one, and then I removed the tape, and then I realized that I wanted it to be like a little bit darker and a little bit smokier, so I went in with a black eyeshadow. I'm using Corrupt from Makeup Geek, but any good black eyeshadow will work. And I'm not covering up that brown eyeshadow that I just went in with. I'm just using a little bit of this black really close to my lash line just to add dimension and just to make it a little bit more smoky. And I'm also putting a little bit of this on my lower lash line. Now I'm going back in with Fawn, and I'm using a small like shader brush, and I'm just putting this kind of on my lid close to my lash line. I always do this to help blend out those dark colors just because it makes it look a little bit more smoky and blended, like there's no harsh lines. And I'm also using this to blend out my lower lash line just so there's not a harsh line. Now I'm going back in with the orange eyeshadow, and I'm just using a pencil brush to blend this on my lower lash line just so all the colors blend together so it looks the same on the bottom as it does on the top. And then I'm going in with this shimmery eyeshadow. It's from Karity Cosmetics. A while back they did send me some eyeshadows. They told me to pick some off their websites and they sent them to me to try out, and I'm just getting around to using them now. But this color is so pretty. It's kind of like a gold shimmery color, so I'm just putting this all over my lid and on the inner corner of my eye. And then I'm going back in with a blending brush just to blend it out so there's no harsh lines. And now I'm going to highlight the inner corner of my eye using Nylon eyeshadow from MAC, and I'm using this little brush from Zoeva. And now I'm going in with Mylar, which is another eyeshadow from MAC, and I'm using this to highlight my brow bone. I'm using this because it's not really shimmery, it's kind of got a sheen to it, and I didn't want tons of shimmer on my brow bone, so I just used that, but you can use the same color, it doesn't really matter. And for blush, I'm using Warm Soul from MAC, I think this is. I'll put it down below, but I'm pretty sure it's Warm Soul, sorry I couldn't see it. And now to highlight my face, I'm mixing Champagne Pop and Pearl from Becca, and I'm using a fan brush to apply it. This fan brush is also from Karity Cosmetics. It's from like their cheaper brush set that they have, but they also have really good brushes. They actually sent me some brushes too, but I'm just using this fan brush. I have other fan brushes, but I always go back to this fan brush. I really like it for applying highlight. And this video isn't sponsored by Karity Cosmetics. I know I was talking about their eyeshadows and their brushes, but it isn't sponsored. I also applied some highlight down the bridge of my nose and to my chin, and now I'm applying false lashes. I'm using some from the brand Cherry Blossom, so I'm just applying them with tweezers. You don't have to use false lashes if you don't want to though. If you put the darker eyeshadows by your lash line, that will kind of help make your lashes look fuller and not as bald, so you can skip false lashes if you want to. And for lips, I'm using Oak Lip Liner from MAC, and I'm going to line my lips and then I'm going to fill them in completely. And then I'm going in with the liquid lipstick from Stila. I'll have the name of it down below in the description bar. It's kind of like a nude mauve shade. When you apply it, it's lighter, but then when it dries, it kind of like oxidizes and it goes darker. At least on me it did. But this is the finished look. I hope you guys like this, and I will see you in my next video.